Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Shared Discovery, the show and podcast dedicated to sharing all the exciting and enjoyable aspects of games and gaming. I'm your host, Victor, and today I'm joined by our returning host, Xander. How have you been?
Pretty good. I'm pretty tired, though.
We haven't had you on since the speedrunning episode, about 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Have you speedrun any games since then? No.
No, but I have...
Keeping up on any?
Not really, but I did just watch someone complete all of Stardew Valley, like 100% it, in the first 2 years.
Oh, wow. So how long would that normally take?
Apparently it took them a few months because they didn't play, like, non-stop. Okay. I think the world record's like 21 hours, though. Holy
cow. That's a lot to do. 100% speedruns are crazy.
Yeah.
I have been keeping up with this form of speedrunning. His YouTube channel is named Scott's Thoughts, and he will run Gen 1 Pokemon through the game a single Pokemon as fast as possible through the game. So he issued a challenge to the community: how fast can we get Parasect through the game? And so everyone competed, and they all play on ×4 speed. So they got him almost 45 minutes, almost down to 45 minutes. So it became like a speedrunning competition for them. It was really cool to watch. And he's building a tier list of, okay, what's the best solo Pokemon in Gen 1? And he's branched out to Gen 2 and 3. So that's how I keep up with speedrunning. He's actually having a competition this weekend. He backported Smeargle to Gen 1, and he's having a competition where everyone's going to run Smeargle through Gen 1. Huh. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited to see what comes of that.
Yeah, Smeargle's a pretty interesting Pokemon.
Very interesting Pokemon. It can do anything.
Anything. Mimic. And does it have Metronome?
It can. It can sketch it. But why are we talking about Pokemon so much? For those podcast listeners, we have a lot of Pokemon stuff behind us today, because we are doing, the first episode we did together was about Pokemon games.
No, the first one was different types of gamers.
We did different types of, so the first time we recorded together, we did Pokemon games, right? So we're like, let's go back, we love Pokemon, let's do another Pokemon episode. Right? And so today we're going to do that. And we talked about, in that episode, we talked about Pokemon generations. Yeah. How Pokemon is broken up into, the games are released in 3 to 4 year chunks. So what we thought would be fun to do is rank each generation, because there's 9 of them now. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to
get Gen 10, it's just going to be insanity.
I know, there's already over 1,000 Pokemon. So we're not going to rank all 1,000. That would take so many podcasts.
We did have an idea for doing something like that.
We might figure that out. But today, for the hour we have, we're going to go through, rank all 9 generations. We're going to rank them in order of how much we like them, so 1 to 9. And then we're going to give them a letter rating from S to D tier of how much we think the game deserves that. And so, out of the gate, I just want to ask you, before we even start, before we go through any of these mechanics, what do you think your number 1 will be?
Gen 6.
Gen 6?
I've always loved Gen 6.
Okay, that was an easy answer.
It is just very heavily carried by all the Pokemon in there, and Mega Evolution being one of the best gimmicks we have ever gotten.
Okay, well, we'll hold on to that. I was just curious if you knew off the top, but
I'm excited to talk about Gen 6.
That's awesome. Okay, I love that energy. For me, it was kind of a wrestle with a few of them, right? 3, 4, 1. Where do I land, right? So when we talk about the mechanics, I'll tell you more about what that wrestle was for me. And I love how easy that was for you. So I guess we should, in case you haven't listened to that episode, we should define what a generation is for them. And what I found online, a commonly used, because the generation is a fan-made term, right?
I thought it was from the games.
It's actually, fans made it to denote when a new mainline game is coming out. So what it is, it refers to a group of games that were released around the same time within a 3 to 4 year period. And it means that these games within the same generation are typically compatible with each other and contain the same Pokemon. And so what will denote a new Pokemon generation is when a new mainline game comes out and releases brand new Pokemon.
Yeah.
So recently we got Gen 9, and that was denoted
Which has
by
been
Scarlet and Violet,
interesting.
and has released a whole group of Pokemon.
Yeah.
So before that we were at 8, and it branched over.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
And because of this definition, remake games actually belong to the generation that they came out. So think about an example of this is the first generation you had red, blue, green, yellow. Well, they were remade with Fire Red and Leaf Green.
But they're technically Gen 3 games.
And years later, during that Gen 3 period, because of the time frame they came out and because of the mechanics they have.
Yeah. And didn't they have some Gen 3 Pokemon in there? I feel.
Yeah, so you can get access to some Gen 3 post game.
Oh, right. Regional decks. Or that didn't come out till Gen.
We'll get to that. We'll get to the mechanics, later, the specifics. So we won't
Yeah.
get caught in the weeds here. We got some generations to get through, but
like the
just know that it's this 3 to 4 year time period, which we'll define as we go, and it's categorized by a release of new Pokemon.
I think there's only been one time where it's been less. I think.
Oh yes, there's one shorter generation, which you'll see really quick. It was a very short one, but we need a disclaimer. The top of the hour.
What we say is not law. You can have your own opinions. We both have different opinions on what the best game is, what the worst game is.
These, all I wrote here, these are opinions, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to disagree. That's what makes the Pokemon community great. Is there over 1,000 Pokemon, over dozens and dozens of games? You're gonna have your favorite. You're gonna have the one that you've played the most. You're gonna have the Pokemon you like. These are just our opinions. So we just want to get that out of the way, right? We're gonna disagree on some things.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have a good conversation about it. So if you disagree with us, have a good conversation with us in the comments or email us, right? So yeah, that's a generation. That's the disclaimer. So, what is the criteria that we're going to be using for these rankings? How did you, before the pre-show, go through and rank each of these generations?
But I ranked them by the Pokemon, how much I like the Pokemon that are in the generation.
That's
because
huge. It's in the name.
they're the heart and soul of each generation. How fun they are.
I mean, it's a game, right? What did we say in our games episode is like, if they're not fun, why are you playing?
Yeah.
Right? Why to play games? Fun.
Yeah. How fun the shiny hunting in them is.
We do like shiny Pokemon around here.
Yeah.
We really do.
And what else was there? Did I say anything else?
So fun, Pokemon, and shiny. And so
How long, maybe? How long?
the length for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no, wait. Can you pick it up and put it back down?
What do you
Can you
mean by
play
that?
it a little bit at a time?
Okay. And do you want to play small chunks, or do you want it to have longer
I prefer
sessions?
long chunks.
You do like the long session.
But sometimes a shorter
You like the
chunk.
flexibility is what I
Yeah,
mean.
especially if I'm like really focused on another game, and I'm also playing a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna focus on that game and then sometimes take a break from it and go to the
I
other-
see. So
go to the Pokemon.
Flexibility.
Yeah.
You like your flexibility in your game. I can save this, come back, and still know what I'm doing. Know where to pick it back up from.
Yeah.
I like that. And those
Although-
are pretty similar to my criteria. Obviously, number one is the Pokemon, right? How much do I like the Pokemon that were released in this generation? That's huge.
Yeah, again, heart and soul.
Heart and soul. And then favorite mechanics. So you mentioned Mega Pokemon. That's a
Yeah.
mechanic that was released during Gen 6, and every single generation had their own unique mechanics.
Although,
So that's going to relate
didn't
to me.
Gen 7 games have megas?
You were able to use them, but their release mechanic was
Ultra Sun, Ultra.
they had the Z moves,
Yeah.
which we'll get to that.
Yeah,
too, right?
that's different.
Yep. And so the mechanics that were released in that time period, how much did they resonate with me? And then how much do I return to those games? Yeah. How often do I go back and say, if I want to play Pokemon, I'm going to pick a game from this generation?
Yeah.
How much experience do I have with them? Because it's impossible to be objective with this. And we talked about that with opinions. We all have our experience with them. You know, you and I started at very different times. That's going to affect our ratings.
And I wouldn't say I can do that. Your last one, I don't have all the handhelds to play older games. The only two I really have access to are Gen 8 and Gen 9.
And that's a barrier that you had that I didn't, so that's
Yeah.
going to affect our ratings.
Yeah, because
right?
you have.
I got the DSs, the Game Boys, the GameCube.
Yeah.
right? And so I have that experience that you don't. But lastly, same thing for you. How fun are they?
Yeah.
So those are
Fun
my
is a huge factor.
right. So those are my criteria that I use for ranking. So as we keep that in mind as we get started here, let's hop into Generation 1. And Generation 1, this is what started it all in 1996, and this lasted till 2000, so a 4-year period.
Yeah.
The games that were released were Red and Green in Japan, Red, Blue, Yellow nationally, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snap, the Game Boy trading card game, Puzzle League, and
Pinball?
I think Pinball, we'll see here. I'm pretty sure, I think you're right, yeah. Pinball did come out here. There were multiple pinball games
Yeah,
that came out.
pinball has been.
And so the mechanics that came out here, there wasn't really anything, not like megas or anything, but it set the whole trend. It set
Yeah.
the formula. You're catching, you're battling, there's evil teams, there's a rival character, there's gym leaders, Elite Four, a champion, right? And this region is called the Kanto region. There were 15 types originally.
Yeah.
They had introduced evolutions, evolution stones, 151 Pokemon. You know, if you
Yeah.
play Pokemon, you know that number.
Yeah.
And then there were 165 moves introduced in this game.
I didn't know that number.
Yeah, and so this is the generation that set the formula that's still being used today.
Yeah.
And so
Although it has been tweaked a little bit here and there.
it has been tweaked over time, and played with a little, but the idea of catching Pokemon, building a team of 6, getting some form of accolade, we'll say accolade instead of badges, right?
Yeah.
Because you think about Gen 7, you're doing challenges instead of badges, but there's always, this is the formula. It's set Pokemon into motion. So based on Gen 1, give me your letter rating. Where do you think?
I'd put it at a solid B.
B tier.
B tier. It's a little bit flat, especially because they didn't entirely know what they were doing yet, and they were planning on making a sequel.
Yeah.
They already planned on doing that, and they didn't plan on going any further.
So that's B tier for you. So in your rank of 9, where does Gen 1 fall?
Still 4th place.
Fourth
though,
place, okay.
Because again, it's the one that started it all.
It is.
And the fact that the creature or the entity known as Missing No exists
Yes,
also kind of elevates
a
it
glitching
quite a
Pokemon
bit.
that you could use to get infinite rare candies in
Yeah.
the game. This is actually hilarious because I put Gen 1 at rank 4 as well. Right?
Yeah, so that's something we agree on.
We have, yeah, absolutely. We have similar criteria, but I actually put it as an A tier because of just how foundational it is
Yeah.
to the series, and with what they were able to do with the limited hardware they had at the time.
Yeah.
I find that really
And without color.
yeah,
Without color.
exactly. I find that just so amazing. My very first Pokemon game was Yellow version. I spent a lot of time
Isn't
with
in
it.
the-
Yeah, it's actually in my very first chunky Game Boy back there. For those podcast listeners, I brought it with me. Checked out the YouTube video to see it. So I have a lot of experience with it. I like every single Generation 1 Pokemon. I've spent so much time with it. And I actually do return to the games a lot. I watch a lot of YouTubers that just are trying to squeeze the most out of it. And I have so much fun seeing the janky mechanics that exist.
Yeah, Pokemon, the games will most likely never die. There are people who are going to be playing the Gen 1 games when Gen 30's out.
Absolutely. And at the top of the hour, I was talking about Scott's Thoughts, who did a challenge with hundreds of players in a Generation 1 game. A game that's over 20 years old.
Yeah.
So that's super
Older
cool.
than me.
So A tier for me, rank 4. And then before we move on, I thought this would be fun to do here. Your most favorite and your least favorite Pokemon from the generation. So lay it on me. We'll start with your least favorite.
Least favorite is just my actual least favorite Pokemon of all time Jinx. There's so much wrong about it. The design it's so awful.
Jinx is very polarizing Pokemon, which is funny because I absolutely love Jinx. So that's what makes it a polar. I think they really emphasize what they're going. I feel like they achieved what they wanted to with that Pokemon.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite?
Vulpix.
Bullpix. Hey, we have similar favorites. My favorite is Flareon.
Yeah.
So we like little fire types.
I'm still looking for one in Pokemon Legends Arceus.
This is funny. We have similar favorites. We also have similar least favorites because I don't like Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime has creeped up in my hated recently because I'm playing Legends Arceus a lot, and he's a jerk in that game.
Yeah.
He just like blocks your balls and messes with you, and you try to catch him, he puts a barrier up.
Although in that game, Paris is the biggest jerk.
I can at least deal with them a little bit easier. They just rage at you. Mine just messes with you. So that's Gen 1. Let's head on to Gen 2. And this is what you were alluding to with the shortest generation.
Yeah.
Gen 2 was only year 2000 to 2001. It had the shortest amount of games. It had Gold, Silver, Crystal, Pokemon Stadium 2, and Pokemon Puzzle Challenge.
Yeah.
Not many games, but here's the impact that it left. Here's the mechanics, right? So this is called the Johto region. It was a direct sequel built with Gen 1 in mind, so the games actually connect together in the region. It's the only games that do that allow you to move from region to region.
Maybe.
And then...
Because Gen 9 might have...
And well, that's still speculation.
It's speculation, but
how's this recording?
Possibly.
So in Gen 1, there was a single special stat. In Gen 2, they moved that to special defense and special attack. They added 2 more types, the Steel and Dark type. They added real-time events.
Yeah. And fun fact, Dark type was only there to counteract the overpowered type that was the Psychic type.
Yes, they messed up Psychic.
What was it? Psychic, its only weakness was Bug.
Yeah, because
and they accidentally made Ghost an immunity.
Yeah, and right here, we're actually getting to that right now, so they broke Psychic Pokemon in Gen 1.
Yeah.
They were so OP because Bug was their only weakness. It was supposed to be Ghost as well, but they gave it an immunity to Ghost.
Accidentally.
And then...
And the Bug type, it was the worst type in the game.
It was terrible.
It had like 4 moves, only 2 could actually do damage.
Like Pin Missile, I think.
And Twin Needle?
And Twin Needle, they were terrible. And the Pokemon that could use those moves couldn't keep up with how strong Psychic types were.
Yeah, you couldn't have a Beedrill fight an Alakazam.
Yeah, so Gen 2 fixed that, right? So now the Bug type, they fixed a lot of the typing issues. So now the Bug and Poison type aren't super effective against each other. Psychic lost its immunity to Ghost, and
Thankfully.
Then Fire now resists Ice type. They added 100 new Pokemon, 86 new moves. They added gender to the game.
Yeah.
This is the generation that
Gen 1 didn't have gender?
This is the generation that added a lot of features that we'll see from here on out. Gender, breeding, friendship,
Shinies,
held items, shiny Pokemon. This is the first generation with shiny Pokemon, for those of you that don't know. Pokemon that are found in the wild or in events, whatever, have a 1 in 8192 chance in the generations 2 through 5 to be a different color.
Except for 2 exceptions in the Gen 2 games. And it's also, one of the exceptions is why Crystal is one of my favorite games in the entire series. We'll start with the first one, the more well-known one, the Shiny Gyarados.
Oh yeah, there are guaranteed shinies throughout through that, but yeah, there's a Gyarados in the Lake of Rage that is always shiny.
Yeah, you cannot, it can't not be shiny. But the other one, which is only in Crystal, it's not in any other game, it's the Odd Egg, which can only hatch into one of the baby Pokemon of one of the Gen 1 Pokemons,
So Pichu.
Pichu, Cleffa, Igglybuff, Tyrogue, Smoochum, Magby, Elekid, and Togepi for some reason.
Yeah, and so we won't get into the weeds on shinies because we still have 7 generations to go.
Yeah.
Because we want to do a shiny episode.
But it had a 14% chance to be shiny.
Oh my gosh, that's
so
crazy.
if you just put down a save,
Yeah.
go
You could
run.
get that
Thing
5-10 minutes.
No.
Oh yeah, because of hatching the egg.
No, because it's actually a very long walk distance.
Yeah, you got to hatch the egg. And so the last few things, again, this was the generation that just added things that will be used forever. It added berries as well.
Yeah.
And it added 7 new Pokeballs. So based on that, where would you rank Gen 2 for you on your rankings?
For the number ranking, it's 3. It's 3.
Okay.
Because of Crystal, because of the
Crystal
odd egg.
version. Okay.
I love that game.
Nice.
But the reason it's not S tier for me is Whitney.
Oh.
One of the hardest challenges in any Pokemon game ever.
So it's A tier then, just because of Whitney?
just because of Whitney.
Brings it down for you? That's fantastic.
Well, it's more of Whitney's Miltank. Unless you can specifically get a good counter against it,
It's so
which there's
strong.
only like 2.
It's a huge boss. It's a huge challenge to overcome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And if you're playing Crystal, you have an easier time because if you if you're shiny hunting the odd egg, and the shiny you get is Tyrogue, you have a fighting type that can deal with
So
the
true.
Miltank.
Yeah, it's type advantage. Like normals are only weak to fighting, so that makes it a really hard gym leader. I will say for me, I actually put it really high too, as rank 2 for me.
Oh,
Because of Crystal version.
Yeah.
Because of Crystal version, because of how much time I spent on Crystal version. It was one of the games where I tried really, really hard to actually complete the decks. I got it on Christmas night, and I just love that I love all of the Pokemon, and I love that this is the generation that set up so many things that we're still using today. Friendship, held items, gender, like shiny Pokemon.
Yeah,
Right? How
shiny
much I love shiny Pokemon.
I have like 4 full boxes in Legends Arceus. It's all shiny Pokemon.
Absolutely. So I'm always
Only like
returning to these
4 of them
games.
are
Yep.
hacked
They're
and
super
traded.
fun, but I only put it at an A tier. It didn't hit S tier for me because there were some issues that I had with the game, like level curve, right?
Okay,
It became
yeah.
super easy after late game. They didn't really balance the levels as much as I would like from a difficulty
And
perspective.
then you can just sweep the entirety of Kanto.
Exactly. So
Although,
because of that, I brought it down, but it has the best boss fight ever.
yeah, the red battle.
The red battle at the game.
With the level 80 Pikachu.
Yup, 88 Pikachu.
Wait, 88? I thought it was just 80.
Yeah, it's the highest one on his team because it's Pikachu, and it's Pikachu. That's it's Pikachu.
Pikachu, one of the starters. One of the Kanto starters.
So its team was Pikachu, Espeon, Snorlax, Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise.
Yeah.
That's a
Just those
hard-
4? Oh, wait, all
6 of those.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
Red's team. Yeah.
Oh, that's even worse than I thought.
So we can get on to Gen 3 here. What is your favorite Pokemon from Gen 2?
Wooper.
Wooper. That's a good
Love Wooper.
choice. Small Ant would be so happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Small ant.
That's a great choice. Okay, least favorite. I think I know, based on Gen 1.
Smooch 'em.
Smooch 'em. You don't like Jinx? You don't like Baby Jinx?
Gonna punt it to the moon.
We're not gonna punt baby Pokemon, okay? We're gonna keep them away from you.
Oh,
We actually do have that in common. I love all of Gen 2, but I did put Smooch 'em at the bottom.
yeah.
It's hard. I
Yeah.
really love all of Gen 2.
And-
It's like, eh.
And Suicune was a
That's your
easy
number.
second
Okay.
for that. It
Yeah.
almost topped Wooper, but Wooper's just so adorable.
Wooper's so good. I put Ho-Oh. It's the box legendary. I lied when I said I had Crystal first because I actually got Gold first. And then when Crystal got it, I got it immediately. So I spent I spent a huge chunk of time in Gold, then Crystal came out. Let's do it again. But
Did you know about the odd egg? The odd egg?
No, I did not know that. You're just letting me know
Actually,
about them.
shiny hunting wasn't really popular until I think Gen 4.
Yeah, it took a while to get off the ground. I actually did see a shiny Pokemon in my first Gold playthrough. In the first couple hours, a Metapod. It was basically red back then. And I was like, oh, that was cool. Knocked it out because I was grinding. And then I was like, a couple hours later, I'm like, I should go get one of those. So I sat in the grass for 3 hours, and I'm like, I give up. I'm gonna play the game. So I didn't know.
One of my favorite clips of all time. Or one of my favorite videos of all time. It's from MNJTV. It's a platinum run.
Yeah.
And it was an April Fool's thing because it was like, can I beat Pokemon Platinum? That was it. He ended up getting 3 full odd shinies, 1 Zubat, 2 Graveler,
Gosh. Wow. Oh, the classics. Nice. Yep.
all in caves.
So that's Gen 2. I did forget to mention that in Gen 2 they added the Sunstone as an evolution method, and then this is the first generation that that box legendaries were introduced.
Wait,
so we still don't see those on the box. I'm gonna keep my first sheet because it has my criteria here. And
I don't.
So Generation 3. Generation 3 came out between 2002, 2006. The games are Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, Pokemon Dash. These were the first Mystery Dungeon games, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red and Blue Team, and then the first Pokemon Ranger game as well.
Yeah, I believe these are the most popular. I feel like, because everyone keeps talking about these games.
I'm going to just get it out. This is my number 1.
It's not my number 1. It's my number 2.
Number 2, okay.
Yeah.
We're pretty close in the top
I do
here.
like it.
Yeah.
I do like it a lot.
I'm actually
but
surprised how close we are in our rankings so far.
yeah.
So I put this as number
We get
1.
to Gen 6.
S tier for me, but let's talk about some of the mechanics before we talk about them. So, mechanics here, this is the Hoenn region.
Yeah.
They added abilities. For the first time,
Yeah.
Pokemon had passive abilities. They added 76 of them. They
One
added
of which is the worst one on the planet.
double battles. This
Oh,
is the
yeah.
first generation where you can send
Yeah,
2
Tate
Pokemon out.
and Liza.
Contests. They upgraded how EVs work, how you can improve your Pokemon's stats. Weather. They added weather effects, which are just
Yeah.
used ever since.
And then they showcase that with cast form,
Yep. Cast form, which has different forms based on the weather.
which is actually one of my favorite Pokemon.
Cast form's great. They had 135 new Pokemon, 103 new moves. They changed how shininess is determined in this. I can't tell you how off the top of my head. Again, that's the shiny episode. They added 43 new berries.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. 7 new Pokeballs. They added more storage, and they added secret bases. So,
I think I know how they changed it. I think originally it was based off of EVs or IVs or one of those.
yeah, I don't want to speak to it because I have learned it, but I don't want to get lost in the weeds there. But tell me, you said it's rank 2. So what put
Yeah.
it at rank 2 for you?
Spinda.
Spinda, off the back of Spinda. That brought, okay. Why do you like Spinda?
Because it has billions of forms.
Yeah, Spinda's really cool. Tell them about.
Spinda is just this cute little like panda Pokemon that looks like it's constantly drunk. In
It
fact,
always
it's-
has swirly
yeah,
eyes.
and it has spots all over its body, and no Spinda is the same because the spots are always different.
You will never get the same Spinda as someone else.
Yeah.
And especially true for shiny hunters. If
Yeah.
shiny hunters get a Spinda, you know that's unique.
Yeah, you know it's unique.
That's extra rare.
Yeah.
And it has a pretty good shiny too. All the dots become green. I like that.
From red to green.
Red to green. I think that's pretty cool. So that was enough to get it to rank 2 for you. What was your letter grade for it?
A.
A tier?
It's an A tier.
What keeps it out of S tier?
What? Oh yeah, the villains' plans don't make that much sense.
That's true.
They're really wacky.
Team Magma, Team Aqua, they want to destroy the world, and then you ask why, and they're like, because I do.
And then there's again MJTV. He created his own third team. Well, Team Magma's plan was to expand the land. Team Aqua's plan was to expand the sky.
Sea.
MJTV, he made Team Sky, which the goal was to expand the sky, which doesn't make any sense
Doesn't make
whatsoever.
sense. Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, how do you expand the sky?
Oh, that even makes less. That's funny.
Yeah.
I love that.
Which
So this one came to rank 1 for me because I have spent the most time with. I said I spent a lot of time with Crystal, but I played Coliseum endlessly. I played Emerald
haven't played
and
Coliseum.
Ruby and Sapphire and Leaf Green. I played all of those so
I would
much.
like to play.
We should play that sometime. I
Coliseum.
got it right behind you there. We could do that. I love all of the Pokemon that were there. This is the generation I go back to the most. That was what brought this up to S tier for me, and fun. It's so much fun for me. And like I said, I love the Pokemon, but the Pokemon that is number 1 for me is Breloom. It's just a grass raptor. What's your number 1?
Spinda.
Spinda. We just said that.
Spinda.
What's your least favorite?
Huntail.
Huntail. Okay.
Don't like it.
This is similar. I put Love Disc, so we put two
Why
fish.
Love Disc?
Because it's just a stupid heartfish. It's just
It's
like,
adorable though.
it's a fish. I don't really care about it. Again, like I said, I love all of the Pokemon, so I'm picking the child. I love the least here.
Don't you dare say
All right,
Chingling for Gen 4.
Gen 4. Here we go. Gen 4 came out between 2006 and 2010. The games were Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Battle Revolution, Pokemon Ranch, Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time, Darkness and Sky, Pokemon Ranger, Shadows.
The best one.
Of how do I say that? Almia?
Omnia.
Almia, Guardians of Sky, Pokemon Rumble.
Guardians of Sign.
Oh, Signs, thank you. And then Pokepark Wii. And some of the mechanics here, so this is the Sinnoh region, and this is where they split the physical and special stats across the moves. So this was huge for the game.
It changed the game forever.
Fundamentally changed the game, because before this, a move was either special or physical based on the elemental type it was.
Yeah.
But after the split, a water move could be either physical or special, which allowed Pokemon of earlier generations that think about Crawdon. Crawdon has like 120 attack, but its typing was dark and water, which were both special.
Yeah.
And its special attack was much worse. So after the special physical split, it was able to use its stats much better.
And now there are special fighting moves. Now, most fighting moves stayed
They mostly stayed
physical, but like Aura Sphere.
Yeah.
And then we go to the opposite, Psychic. Most of them are still.
But they did, what was it, Psycho Cut?
Psycho Cut.
Yeah, Psycho Cut. So that was huge for the series. And after that, they added new stone evolutions to old Pokemon. They had the Dawn, Dusk, Shiny Stone. They added more real-time events, new Pokeballs, 107 new Pokemon, 113 new moves, 47 new abilities in addition to last generation.
Oh, no.
Pokemon can now have multiple abilities. You got 4 new boxes, and this was the generation where Pokemon could follow you in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and the overworld. So, all of that being said, where in your number rankings is Gen 4 for you?
5.
5, okay. So, right in the middle there.
Yeah,
So,
in the middle.
what puts it in the middle for you?
What did I write here? Well, the evolutions for old Pokemon. Again, I love that. It gave me one of my favorites, Gallade, but it's not my favorite here.
Okay,
for this.
one of your favorites.
Oh, I remember.
Tell me, what is it?
Honey trees.
Yes. So that kept it down for you. Because, honey trees, you had to slather them with honey and then wait 6 real hours. You couldn't speed it up at all. And some Pokemon were locked behind that.
And that's...
And like Munchlax had a 1% chance to get.
Hey, you guessed what my least favorite Pokemon for this generation.
Munchlax, really?
I love the Pokemon, but I hate getting it.
You hate getting it. Okay. And so what's your favorite?
Bidoof.
Bidoof.
Bidoof,
Our
aka
golden
God, aka God. Even though it's
man.
not God, and God is in this generation.
It is with Arceus, yes. So I put it actually at rank 3. Again, this is a generation that I return to all the time.
I feel like this is the second most popular one. People, mainly because Platinum.
Oh,
People love going to
return to Platinum.
Now, people don't really go to Diamond and Pearl all that often because Platinum has the better Pokemon
It
in
was
it.
like the remastered version, right? They took everything from those games and updated it.
Which is like Yellow, Crystal, Emerald.
And it's not only off the back of Platinum. I really love Heart Gold, and I played
Okay, Heart
Pokemon
Gold.
Rumble a lot.
Yeah. Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
So this is funny. My favorite and least favorite Pokemon from this generation are both bugs. So my favorite is Vespiquen, because she's just a giant queen bee.
Yeah,
My
she's
least favorite is Burmy.
I can see that.
Just a little bag.
I can see that.
I don't know. He's kind of annoying. He has a bad shiny.
For me, you said I couldn't put it there. I almost put male Combi.
Yeah, you have
It's the most useless Pokemon on
It
the
is,
freaking planet.
But you do like female Combi. though.
Yeah,
That's why you
Combi
can't
as
say
a
it's
whole,
your
I
most-
love,
yes.
but male Combi, they're more common and they can't evolve into Vespiquen.
Yep, it's a 1 in 8 chance to get a female Combi, and that's the only one that can turn to Vespiquen.
Yeah.
And that's why Vespiquen, another reason it's super high for me, it's because I like the rarity. I think it's that's so unique.
Legends Arceus, you can just find one.
You can.
In a
I
tree.
know, Yep, and so I put this as A tier. I think it's great, but it didn't reach the level of like just awe that I had
Yeah,
with Gen 3.
For me, it's a B tier.
B tier. All right, the infamous Gen 5.
5. The one with the best sprites.
The best sprites.
Yeah.
Gen 5 was from 2010 to 2013. This is Black and White 1 and 2. They had the Pokemon Dream Radar, Pokemon Rumble Blast, Learn to Play Pokemon Typing Adventure.
What?
Yep, that was released in Gen 5.
That's a real thing?
That's a real thing. Pokemon Park 2, Pokemon Conquest, Mystery Dungeon,
Okay,
Gate of Infinity,
that's
and Rumble Wii U.
That's a dope name. Mystery Dungeon Gate of Infinity.
I know, the Mystery Dungeons games have great names and great music too, by the way. If you ever
I didn't know that.
want to check out some new music, check
I think I'm gonna make a video game playlist.
You
just to
should, yeah.
Chill.
So
We can even play it while playing Magic.
we could. I like that.
That's more chill music.
For our YouTube videos, we use remixes of a lot of Pokemon music, and I always going back to the Mystery Dungeon music. They're so good. But here's some of the mechanics for Gen 5.
We forgot about something in Heart Gold
So,
Silver I wanted
we
to talk about.
This is the Unova region.
Yeah.
They added hidden abilities, hidden grottos. They updated the sprites and move animations majorly.
Yeah.
They added a new Pokeball, and this is actually the generation that added the most new Pokemon, 156. And
Has it been overtaken?
nope, this
Really?
is number one because this was the soft reboot for the series. They added 92 new moves, 41 new abilities, triple battles, rotation battles.
Rotation battles.
They added dark grass, shaking grass.
I've never played these games, so I wouldn't know. But I've seen
They're challenging.
rotation battles,
Yeah.
and I just think, Legends Arceus, the 3, when you have one Pokemon and they have 3,
Yeah, when they
it's
gang
like
up on.
it's so
It's
unfair.
different, but it's like so you send out 3. There's one in the front, and you can rotate left or right. And you have to plan on how they're going to rotate, on which Pokemon you want to switch into. It's really cool, really neat system.
In Legends Arceus, they have like one Pokemon that's really strong and 2 Pokemon who are there to support it.
Yeah,
But I think its counters are the things that will hurt it the most.
Yeah.
Maybe I think.
and so the last few things. We'll get to Arceus. Don't worry.
I really want to talk about
I want
Arceus.
to save you Arceus.
My favorite game.
So this is they added seasons to the game. They put the Pokemon art and the Pokemon Center in the same place. They changed the battle music depending on what is happening. They have infinite TM usage.
Yeah,
And they
I
added
love
more
that.
boxes.
I love-
Based on all of that, where does Gen 5 sit for you?
It's 8th though.
Okay. And
It introduced a lot of good stuff, but it's just not as good as the other ones.
okay, it's not as good for you. How much experience do you have with Gen 5?
Very little.
Very little,
That's
okay.
also part of it.
Okay.
But it does have my absolute favorite Pokemon of
Really?
all time.
Okay, in Gen 5.
Yeah,
okay.
is Joltik.
Joltik, the tiny little static spider.
Yeah.
Nice. I always thought your favorite was Pichu, but
Yeah,
I'm
no.
glad it's still an electric type. That's fantastic.
What on earth did I write for my least favorite thing?
So it sounds like it was, so if it's 8, what is the letter rating you gave it?
It's a C tier.
C tier? Okay. Pretty low for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I put Gen 5 as rank 6. I do have pretty low experience playing the game, but the sprites, the Pokemon that were
You don't have a
added.
single.
I don't have the cases.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
have the games, and I've been playing them. I've been shiny hunting. I love the sprites. That's my favorite
Yeah, that's
sprite look
that's
in the game.
best part.
And I love the mechanics. I love the story. So I put it as an S tier for me. I absolutely adore what Gen 5 did for the series.
What did I write here?
You know, maybe, and I was falling out of I fell out of Pokemon towards the end of Gen 4, so I was on the hate train.
Oh, I know
Gen
that
5. But in retrospect and going back and playing it, and I'm like, these are fantastic
Yeah.
games. So,
But
and again, back to our opinions. These can change over
Yeah.
time too.
yeah. And now to talk about our least favorite things.
Oh, I got my favorite before we talk about least.
Okay,
favorite.
yeah.
My favorite is Chandelure.
Oh.
I love Ghost Fire is such a cool type,
Yeah.
and shiny is fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
So-
least favorite, lay it on.
Well, I didn't talk about my least favorite thing in the games because I couldn't read my own handwriting.
Oh yeah.
But it's the genies. They just look so weird. There's only one that looks semi-good when it transforms into its Therian form, but they just look so weird.
Okay.
But they're not my least favorite Pokemon in this gen.
Sure.
It's the Gothita line.
Oh, okay. And which one would be your least out of
They're tied. They're
that?
all
You gotta
tied.
pick one. I'm gonna make you pick one.
The small one, though.
Small one. Got that.
And I hate this line for the exact same reasons I hate Jinx and Smoochum. They look so similar, but this one's different because it's from space.
I like. They're not my favorite, but I get what they're going with for that line. For me, I don't really like Heatmorn. It's
Which I love.
which
I
is
love
okay.
Heatmorn.
We
I
got
love
different
Heatmorn and
opinions.
Durant.
I just don't like its little hands and its spiky nose. I get it. I don't like it that much.
I love it because of the whole like dynamic between it and Durant.
Durant, yeah, I do get that, but a lot of it is design for me, and it doesn't appeal to me, and that's totally okay.
But it has a dope shiny.
It does. I can agree with that. All right, so we're down to Gen 6 here. We already know this is your favorite. I spoiled that. I didn't.
Yeah, this
I
is.
thought you were on that. So this is 2013 to 2016. This is Pokemon X and Y. Oh yeah, I gotta send it. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Go, a bunch of other random stuff.
Yeah.
Pokken Tournament, Detective Pikachu.
Okay, Pokemon Tournament's pretty great.
And
Oh, wait, Detective Pikachu. You didn't put it up.
We didn't put up
Wait.
on the display. That's
No.
okay. So here's some of the
I
mechanics.
have my little Detective.
They switched from 2D to 3D. They added another type. Since the first time since Gen 2, they added the fairy type.
Solely to counter Dragon.
They
but it,
updated the type chart because of the fairy typing.
Yeah.
It ended up being OP.
yeah. Its only real weaknesses are steel and poison.
Yeah, it's so strong. It's so good. And they added a fan favorite mechanic, Mega Evolutions. They added character customization.
The best
Yeah.
gimmick in the entire
People absolutely
franchise.
love Mega Evolution.
I'm so glad it was in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Right. Was it in normal Sun and Moon?
I actually don't know.
gonna have
When
to
we get
fact
to
check
Gen
that.
7, I'll let you know
we'll
why
have
I
to
don't
fact
know
check
that because, but it added. This was the generation that had the least amount of Pokemon actually. At new Pokemon, it had 72, 62 new moves, 27 new abilities. It added 8 directional grid because normally you could only move in 4 directions.
Yeah.
It had sky battles, horde battles, inverse battles, super chaining, chain fishing. A lot of cool
Yeah.
mechanics.
I just remembered I watched Alfred do an egg lock where he had 100 YouTubers send him eggs to
that's
play through
cool.
Pokemon X. And when he got to the first gym, he was like, oh, Game Freak really wants you to go like, oh, look, you can move diagonally now. Because it's a giant spider web that you can move across the different strings,
Yeah.
which looks cool.
It does look cool. I like that gym a lot. Where did you rank Gen 6? I know you already said it, but let's hear it again.
It's my number one.
And I'm assuming that puts it at a...
It's an S tier.
S tier,
It's an
okay.
S tier for me.
Yes. And what are some of the reasons for that?
Mega Evolution.
Mega.
Again. And I love, again, that it was in Sun and Moon. And my first Pokemon games, Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu. It was in there, and it was so
Yes.
useful.
It was so useful. Mega Pokemon are amazing. I love the free Lucario you get in the game. So
oh yeah,
cool.
the free Lucario.
For me, I put this at rank 7, and this is purely, so back to my criteria, experience. I have barely touched any of
Neither
this.
do I, but I've watched so much content about it.
Because of that, I also put it as a B tier, because I don't feel confident
Yeah.
to say, like, this is fun for me, right?
Yeah.
Because that's one of my biggest criteria is fun and experience. I don't have that. But
Yeah.
I do love the Pokemon. I love Mega Evolution.
Yeah.
And my favorite Pokemon one of my favorites came from the Fennekin line.
Oh yeah.
And
the
listen,
Fennekin
I made you choose. I'm gonna choose Brixen.
breaks in. Okay.
Brixen, because I'll let you do with that what you will, viewers. And then my least favorite.
The furry
This
bait.
was hard to choose for me, actually. I like Gen 6 a lot,
Yeah.
but I went with Barbaracle. Barbaracle?
Barbaracle?
Yeah.
maybe
It's just
that.
like, I get that it's supposed to be ugly,
I think it looks a bit cool.
but
Possibly
I just
because
don't like purposefully ugly.
Go Fest last year, I got 2 of its pre-evolution.
So what are your favorite and least favorite?
Well, I didn't talk about my least favorite thing about the game.
Lay it on.
The huge gap between the first and second gym. They're like every other game, you go from one town to the next, and in both of those towns, there's a gym. You go through like 3 different towns in between the first and the second gym.
Dang.
You go through a lot of story. You have to navigate a maze.
Yeah. And I will say that one of the things I do know, this is the generation where they started, like, here are your rivals,
Yeah.
cutscenes, face them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know.
But I like the rivals a bit more than the next generations. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
did you say your least favorite? What was it?
I actually didn't say my favorite.
Oh, lay them on me.
My favorite, I almost said Greninja because it's the fan favorite. It's the #1 favorite Pokemon of all time. I went with Go-Goat
Go. Nice. That's a good choice. I like
because
that.
of two reasons. One, in Scarlet and Violet, I have a Go-Goat that took me I caught a Skiddo after like 6 hours of hunting, and I named him Arthur, and he's my favorite little guy. And 2, going back to MJTV again, he did a complete randomizer of Pokemon Y, and that meant the moves were randomized and the types were randomized. He ended up with a flying, I don't remember the types, but it had Oblivion Wing,
Oh,
and I
nice.
think it had. I think it might have been flying type
Yeah.
as well. So it was just sweeping the entire game.
my
It was
gosh.
his strongest
That's
Pokemon.
amazing.
He had, I think, a Dialga on his team at one point, and his
Nice.
strongest Pokemon was a freaking Go-Go, and I just loved that so much. It just propelled it to one of my
That
favorites.
is amazing. Nice. And I don't want to rush you here, but I got to rush you here.
Yeah.
We only have 10
Yeah.
minutes to do the last 3 generations.
Yeah, which will go quick.
Which will go quick. But I wanted to give you time for your favorite.
Yeah.
You gave me time for my favorite.
Yeah.
So, and what was your least favorite?
Quilladin.
Quilladin. That's
He's
classic.
so derpy,
yeah.
and he's just
Yeah.
no. Why? Why?
All
That
right.
could have been such a cool line.
Yep. All right, so Gen 7 here. This is 2016 to 2019. We're almost caught up.
Yeah.
Caught up on the timeline here. And this has Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, Let's Go, Eevee, Pikachu, Pokemon Tournament DX, Magikarp Jump,
Magikarp Jump, the best spin-off
Pokemon
game.
Masters, and this was the Alola region. It had rideable Pokemon, the removal of HMs, it had 81 new Pokemon, 98 new moves, 41 new abilities, regional forms. This was the generation that added those. Had a Rotom Pokedex. You could see stat changes during the battle. They had the Island Challenge instead of gyms, Battle Royale, SSO calls.
Didn't it have built-in
Ice Stone.
XP share?
I think this is the generation that added that. I don't have it here.
Actually, hold
but
on. I think it may have been
Where do you rank Gen 7?
6.
6, okay.
So above Gen 5, I love the Hawaiian theme.
The theme is great. I will say I never put any of these below C tier, and this is where I put it. It was C tier for me. And I put it at rank 9 because this was the one game that I just quit early on because I could not get through the cutscenes. Like, let me play the game.
Cutscene hell is the worst.
Yeah.
It plagues this Gen 8 and Gen 9.
It started with 6 and it just got worse.
I don't think it was as bad in Gen 6.
It started there, right?
Just like, in my opinion, the start of the annoying rival trope. I think Gen 6, everyone says the rivals were annoying because of how many there were. You had like 4.
You had so many. And I will say that's where it started. Even if you liked them, that's where they started saying, here are rivals, you have to deal with that. So,
and I do, my favorite part about the game is it introduced regional forms, the idea of regional forms.
And that's why it's like I never put any of these at a D tier because there's a lot I like about Gen 7, right? I really liked some of the regional forms. I love
Ninetales.
I love the Hawaiian theme, and Alolan Ninetales is
Alolan Ninetales is, it's the
Ultra Beasts are cool.
Ultra Beasts are cool. Kartana is one of my favorites. Actually, I've been doing a bit of origami lately. So.
Nice, that's awesome.
But going back to Alolan Ninetales, it's the regional form of the evolution of one of my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, Vulpix in Gen 1, so makes sense. But what is your actual favorite from Gen 7 that came out in Gen 7?
Palisand.
Palisand.
Because of how dark it is.
The Ghost Castle.
Yeah.
Nice.
The ghost castle that will eat your children if you're not careful.
Oh my gosh. Ghost Pokemon have crazy lore.
Careful.
Yeah. How about your least favorite?
Brushix.
Yeah.
The weird fish with teeth. It just.
Yeah. If I would say I was gonna say that, but then I saw Gumshoes, and I just don't like Gumshoes.
I love Gumshoes.
I don't-
I might have a little bit of bias because I did have caught 2 Yungoos in 2 different games. Two shiny
ones,
Yungoos in Pokemon Go and Scarlet.
I get what they were going for, but I just don't like it anymore after things that have happened.
My headcanon is it was either designed after Donald Trump or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
And some of the actual inspirations were detective animes, and I think
So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
That's really cool, right? But I just don't like the design. I'm a design guy, but the design I do like is Golisopod.
Yeah, Golisopod looks pretty
That's
cool.
so cool. I like it. Golisopod. I think.
Oh,
it's
I didn't
such a
even
cool
get to
bug.
talk about Palisand's shiny.
The black sand.
The black
It
sand.
was amazing.
Oh. And I love the little spinning shovel at the top.
So this is, again, these rankings can change if I get more experience, but this was at the bottom for me. Ended up being there for me. So,
But not for me.
not for you. Where was it for you?
6th.
6th, okay. I was gonna say 7, no.
Nope.
6,
Nope.
that's pretty good.
Actually,
That's
the
pretty
next
good.
one is my number
Okay,
7.
okay, so Gen 8. Gen 8, 2019 to 2021. This is Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Legends Arceus, the new Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Unite, Mystery Dungeon, Rescue Team DX. And before we let you gush about Legends, this is the Galar region.
First, I'm going to talk about BDSP and how much of an absolute failure it was.
So this is the Galar region. They had Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing. They changed Pokemon breeding, such as transferring moves. They returned to Pokemon following you. You can have Pokemon Camp, and you can make Curry. They added 81 new Pokemon.
Actually, Pokemon could only follow you in the DLC.
But it was still part of this generation, so
I guess.
25 new abilities, 54 new moves, 19 new regional forms, and then the YCOM. So for me,
YCOM.
I put this at rank 5. The YCOM, I looked that up because I didn't know what that is either, but that was the system that they use for battling with PvP, player-to-player stuff. And I put this at rank 5 off of the back of Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
This is probably the most fun I've had with the game since Gen 3.
Legends Arceus is the only exception to the it being number 7 on here. Legends Arceus is my favorite game, but but BDSP and Sword and Shield just drag it down so much.
They do drag it down so much, but if we go back to my criteria, fun, favorite mechanics. I return to the most experience. I like Legends just pulls it up because I was gonna put Gen 8 at the bottom. I was gonna do it, but I'm like, but Legends was so much fun for me. I don't think I could do that.
Legends is a lot of fun. Again, it's my favorite, but BDSP and Sword and Shield just drag it down so much.
I think that's why it brought it up to the middle for me. So you said this one is what, rank 7?
Rank 7.
7. And then
So-
what letter grade do you give it?
It's a B.
A B. Okay. I gave this a
There's only 2.
C or a B as well.
I only have 2 that are C.
Yeah, I think I was leaning towards a C overall. I don't think it could be pulled up to a B, just the back of one game when I don't really care for the rest of them.
What else was there?
But we got a few minutes here left, so what was your favorite Pokemon?
Yamper.
Yamper, little pup.
The little puppy.
And then your least favorite?
Indeedy.
DD.
It just looks so weird. It looks like a butler, but it doesn't look like a butler.
I do like it, but again, opinions. And that's what's great about this. I love Corviknight.
Corviknight.
my favorite.
It looks dope.
It's dope.
It has a great
metal bird,
shiny.
fantastic shiny. And then I don't really like the fossils from this generation, but if I had to pick one, it was Dracovish.
But I love the fossils from this
I just don't like
They're
it. They
my
make me
favorite
uncomfortable.
fossils.
Like it's,
Other than Gen
I get it's funny. Look at it. Haha, we shoved wrong fossil parts together, but I don't know. All right.
Dracovish is so powerful.
I know, and I wish we had a little more time to talk about this,
We could go a bit over
But-
time.
but
Oh.
Gen 9.
Yeah, Gen 9. Oh boy.
Okay, we
Oh,
made it
boy.
to Gen 9.
I do enjoy the games. I will say that.
Gen 9 is 2002 to current. There's only 2 games so far, Scarlet and Violet. Some of the mechanic, they had 105 new Pokemon. It's the Paldea region. I couldn't find the statistics on new abilities or new moves, but it added terrestrialization. It
Which is the worst of the
was
gimmicks.
open
Oh,
world
I didn't even
game.
talk about Dynamax Adventure.
Yeah, let's get through this. We'll see what we got. But add auto battling, new abilities, new moves, sandwiches, which were fun.
That's actually my favorite part of these games. It's just the sandwiches.
Convergent forms, which is think
Oh,
about
yeah.
the Tentacruel, Toadscruel.
Yeah, the split evolution.
Evolutionary line.
Same ancestor. Split.
And then new evolution methods. So where did you rank?
It's the worst for me.
Gen
It hasn't had enough time to like build up much,
sure.
and the start was when it first came out was so buggy.
Yeah, it was.
So buggy. I even got a
The
glitch.
software was a mess. Yeah.
I
It still is.
barely ever gotten glitches in games, but I accidentally glitched out of the map somehow.
It's just how easy it was to do in that game. I put it not at the bottom. I put it at 8, and I put it over Sword and Sun and Moon because I actually, while I have put the game down now, I did have more fun with this than I did with Sun and Moon. So it just felt like it deserved the 8th spot. And I put it at a C tier because it introduced a lot of great things that could be brought up over time if Game Freak puts some love into the game.
Oh,
and
and-
fixing some
And
issues.
again, this one is plagued with cutscene hell.
Yeah, it is, but at least the story is compelling. a
Yeah,
lot
the
of time.
story's fun. I love the 3 different paths.
Yeah.
That's another one of the better things, but shiny sandwiches is still my favorite thing.
So at the bottom of the hour here, I think what we'll do is we'll have some time, some episodes to talk about generations in more depth.
Yeah.
Right? But tell me your most and least favorite.
Favorite Pokemon, Fido.
Fido.
Fido is-
Dog. You like the dogs.
I saw it in the trailers and I was like, oh, this is gonna be my favorite Pokemon from this generation.
Yep.
I just know it.
Yeah. It's lovable.
Yeah, and especially when we found out its name was Fido.
Yeah, that's such a good pun. And
And
how
then-
about your least favorite?
Iron Jugulus, the future form of not Haxorus, Hydreigon.
Hydreigon. You don't like that thing?
No,
Yeah.
because it's shiny.
I
It's shiny drags it down so
The
much.
future forms were definitely hit or miss. But the one I absolutely loved and my favorite Pokemon
Yeah.
was Iron Valiant.
Yeah,
The fusion of Gardevoir, Gallade, future version.
I think a close second is Iron Bundle though,
Iron Bundle.
because I love Delibird. Delibird I
That
have
thing's
talked about it,
lovable.
but it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
Pokemon.
And my least favorite is Shroodle, just purely on design. It just looks like it has teeth coming out of its
Okay.
nose. I just don't.
Okay, but do you like Refai?
I do love that thing. I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah, Refai is so cool. It's such a
Man,
cool
this was an easy hour to fill up.
Yeah.
We gotta do more Pokemon episodes.
Yeah.
But as we wrap up here, tell us what your favorite generations are. Tell us what your favorite Pokemon are. We'd love to
Tell
hear
us
it.
what
Put
your
it-
least favorite Pokemon.
Tell us what your least favorite.
Tell us your thoughts on Jinx.
Tell us your thoughts on Jinx. Are you my side? Xander's side? Tell me. Tell us. Tell us. You can tell us at shareddiscoveryshow@gmail.com. You can tell us in the comments here. Thank you, BCTV.
We have the Twitter.
We do have a Twitter. I don't know the handle.
Neither
We'll put
do
that in the notes, don't worry. Thank you, BCTV, for allowing us to put this production on. And as we sign off, thank you for joining us on episode 17 of Shared Discovery. Please make sure to have some fun, play some games, be nice, and why don't you sign us off?
Be good people.
Thanks for joining us.